and what it really means. Unfortunately, most of the people, even the people within the Patriot group, the people that you and I consider friends and supporters, even they are looking for some higher authority. They want to see a quote in the Constitution. They want to read it in the Declaration of Independence because, God forbid that I should make my own decision. Last fall, there was the Supreme Court ruled in Keller versus Washington, D.C. It's the first Second Amendment ruling that they've come up with in, I think, 60 years. And 12 people called me that morning. Michael, we're so excited. We want you to know that the Supreme Court ruled, 5-4 in favor of Heller. I said, so?
Yeah.
They said, well, we thought you'd be excited. I said, do I need the Supreme Court to tell me that I have a right to life? Do I need the Supreme Court to vote 5-4 to tell me I have freedom of religion? Why do I need the Supreme Court to tell me that I have a right to keep and bear arms? This should be self-evident. And, if it's so obvious, why did they only vote 5-4? And so, when people come to my class, not only do I teach them about the Constitution, how to read it, how to interpret it, but how to stop looking to somebody else for the answer. You can look at it. You have a brain. You're literate. You know what words mean. Why is it so important for, somebody else? And I do. I have people call me all the time, go, Michael, the Kelo versus New London, when the Supreme Court ruled that the government can take your property and give it to somebody else if they're paying more in taxes, people call me all the time and go, God, that sounds like it's unconstitutional. Well, it is. You don't have to be a Supreme Court justice to know that. I mean, you don't have to be a genius. The purpose of the Constitution or any legitimate government is to protect your property, and they can't protect your property by taking it away from you. But people are afraid to draw their own conclusion and stand on it. They want to call somebody who they think is a constitutional expert to just give them that warm, cozy feeling that they're right.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? And they're only going to listen to the established experts in the field. I don't know why they wouldn't listen to somebody like you. Who's more of an expert in the Constitution than you, Michael? When I think about it, I can maybe think of one, and that might be Ron Paul, but I think you might even have him beat on a few things. We talk about life, liberty, and property. And then we look into the Constitution where it says that Americans can be regulated on their use of carbon. That part in the Constitution. It says that. And we find that along with property tax and other devices, are meant to steal our property from it. And you just mentioned eminent domain, yet another way to steal it. And then we've got Agenda 21, the United Nations, protecting buffer zones around sacred property to save the planet Earth, all of this. Our founding fathers are literally spinning at light speed in their graves hearing some of this.
If Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry, stepped into Austin, this weekend, they'd wonder why the rest of us hadn't picked up guns and put an end to that kind of tyranny. The Founding Fathers would never have allowed it to get this bad.
I'd like to think so, but sometimes I'm not so sure. But I do know what I know, and I know that there is nothing about free health care for everybody, and there's nothing free about it. They call it health reform. I call it health perestroika, which is the word the Russians use for reform, which is exactly what it is. Forced at the point of a gun and giving the government total control over life and death, cap and trade, as we just mentioned, total control of your input, your output. Soon I think they're going to change, Michael, the income tax, the IRS, to a flat tax that everybody has to pay so they can keep track of everything that you buy and that you sell. And then, of course, we've got all of these advocates for gun control, and don't even get me started on Teddy Kennedy. Total surveillance of the society, massive databasing. I mean, none of this is in the Constitution, yet it doesn't seem to filter down to the unwashed masses.
Well, that's what we started with. It is beginning to. You and I have been talking about this stuff for so long. We want liberty, yesterday. We are tired of working at this, and it is so obvious to us that, we can't imagine that, and there's anybody alive that still doesn't know this stuff. But unfortunately, there are people who have been going along doing their thing. They don't really pay attention to politics because, you can tell a politician is lying because their lips are moving.
Yeah.
And they're just starting to figure it out. With the bailout and the stimulus package and, look at the unemployment rate. They admit that the unemployment rate is 10%, but I'm fairly certain it's, higher than that. If I take a survey of all my friends, I think there's about a 16% unemployment rate, just the people I know.
Well, I'm technically unemployed according to the government, so these figures can be forged and mucked around with. I did have a gentleman who had just moved back from Europe where he says we're getting their entire system, and it's just you just accept the fact that there's 10% unemployment. It could get worse. In fact, it's going to get worse. We saw yesterday China started to feel the impact of the economic global 9/11, and it ain't good. And today, I believe, when I woke up, the stock market was plummeting. So there's a lot worse to come. But the people really have. I think we talked about this years ago, Michael. You start hitting people in their pocketbooks. You start repossessing their real wealth on top of the 50% taxes they pay and inflation and everything else. And they're liable to get their pitchforks and torches out and go to town hall meetings and start yelling at people.
Amen. Amen. I am waiting for that to happen. I never thought it would have gotten this far. If you told me 12 years ago that there was going to be a Patriot Act, a Military Commissions Act, a Homegrown Terrorist Act, I'd say, Jack, I think you're hitting the bottle there, kid. You're exaggerating. The American people will never let it get that far.
Hey, leave my whiskey out of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, obviously we have. So I'm not sure how far the American people will let it go. But the April 15th, there were Tea Party rallies across the nation. I think there were 1,000 cities with rallies. I went to the one in Dallas. There were 5,000 people there. 18,000 people reported in San Antonio, 8,000 people on Chicago's Navy Pier. And the mainstream media spent 4 days trying to tell us that nothing happened. Nobody showed up to the tea parties. Well, if nobody showed up, you wouldn't have mentioned it at all. Instead of spending 4 days trying to, play everything down.
Well, then they revised that, too. There were a bunch of racist, birther, deather, haters, terrorists.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to be the crazy, and so the point is that let the mainstream media say what they want. Most of us know that, that's a bunch of hot air, and it's lies and propaganda. But the American people are waking up. I was in Austin last Saturday at the Capitol building for a sovereignty or secession.
I was there, too. And I guess I didn't see you out there. That was pretty crazy.
It was pretty crazy. And just the idea that, we're either going to get the federal government out of Texas or we're going to take Texas out of the United States. Either way, we're going to solve the problem. To have people actually having a rally for that, it's like, amen. So
we were short about it. We were short about 500,000 people, but that being said, we know people don't like to go to rallies and go to things like that, especially on a Saturday when they can stay home and watch football and drink beer or whatever.
Yeah,
but it does show a sign of the times, Michael. As you said a few years ago, if we could, envision a point where we'd be here, where people would be so outraged that they would be going, "We Are Change," that great organization, on all of these politicians, that they'd have to go hide in churches, some of these people, in order to run away from their constituents, I don't think any of us would have believed it, but I did sense it. So much to talk about with Michael Badnarik. Right after this, we'll also plug his constitutional class. Stay with us, folks.